A water quality summit is expected to take place on the 18th and 19th of January next year. That's at least according to Water and Sanitation Minister Senzo Mchunu, who hosted an imbizo in uMlazi with eThekwini's Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda yesterday. Over 200 residents gathered to address water challenges that they're facing in that municipality. So let's take a look at some of the outcomes of this with the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance chairperson, Desmond D'Sa, who joins us now via our video link. It's great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Let me begin by just ascertaining how you feel after that gathering, given some of the issues that were raised through our reporter, Karinda Jogmahan, who covered the story for us. Apparently, there were really long delays, and it felt more like an ANC rally at times than an issue or a gathering to deal with water issues.
Good morning, Ayanda, and good morning to the listeners. Look, imbizos have been around since the dawn of democracy in South Africa, where they sound out the people about their concerns and all that. However, these imbizos have been going on for a number of years, and despite all that fact, we've had a water crisis in the townships and the area, community suburbs. And this is because there is no implementation plan, or the budgets that were there for maintaining the plants are not being utilized for the good of repairing all the infrastructure. We've seen all the infrastructure collapse in Durban, which has 4 million people. So 200 is only a synopsis of the number of people affected. You just got to drive around the townships in Durban and know that people are carrying buckets, carrying drums of water home. That's an indication of how far we've come. That people have now resorted to having to carry water either through wheelbarrows or carrying water on their heads. And I think that's the tragedy of the whole matter, that we brought the rural areas into the townships in Durban so that people must carry water for miles so they can cook a meal or even wash their clothing. I think what is needed, though, is that whilst the imbizo is going to be happening in Joburg and he's bringing all the officials together, I think the minister is going on the wrong track. What should happen? They should develop an oversight committee of representatives of the affected communities, and they should play an oversight role. So every plan that is implemented, that the community that's affected the most will be participating in that and ensuring that that plan is being delivered to the people. By not bringing the community to the Joburg meeting, I think he's doing himself a disservice. The minister used to be a premier in the province, so he's fully aware of the water problems. Under his watch as a premier, we've had problems with water in the province and in the city of Durban. What he needs to ensure that, to make it meaningful, to ensure that people will get water consistently, to ensure that the maintenance of all the infrastructure is done regularly, then involving the local communities will be the way to go. And not only officials. So he's bringing out officials once a year, only before the elections, and say, well, I'm instructing you to do that. For 9 or 10 months of the year,
right.
For 4 years, what were they doing? Why were they not doing this work? What are the budgets for the work? Where's the budget going to? Those are the questions community are asking.
Yeah.
And we not seem to be getting those answers. And I think that for the government to do itself a great service and really show that it cares for the people of Durban, then the oversight committee of the local communities must be involved to ensure that the budgets that are being provided and the problems that are there will be a thing of the past.
Right. Let me come in there, Desmond. The South African Human Rights Commission had actually released a report recently around the state of just water supply in the province, and they found that nearly all the water service authorities in KZN at some stage committed some kind of human rights violation. The minister said they studied the report and in fact they accept and welcome the recommendations. So you spoke about politics potentially here, but it seems that he's saying all the right things when it comes to meeting with residents during gatherings like the one that was held yesterday. But to what extent do you reckon there's a sincere attempt to address these issues, especially because, as you've mentioned, these are issues that the minister himself is well aware of, given his own political career?
Yeah, look, the minister, Senzo Mchunu, has got a good record of listening to people. But what is lacking here is the implementation, the lack of ensuring that these issues, that if it's not a rocket scientist, it doesn't take a whole lot of money to ensure that the leaking pipes and all the dams that are under repair are fixed, and that people get access to water. It's not a rocket scientist that it will take. What we are seeing is that, for example, the eThekwini's dam has not been operating for a number of years now. Why? Why is that? Who is supposed to be held accountable? Where's the MEC of the province? Where's the mayor of the province? Why are they not being held accountable, or even those officials? That's what people are wanting to hear from the minister. Look, he's not exposed. Look, the Human Rights Commission report is accurate. It has shown us, many of the community people, the Durban Coalition of the Poor, have made representation to the Human Rights Commission because they didn't have water at all. They were walking for miles. They were buying water. They were depending on handouts of water. Imagine water becomes a handout, not a human rights violation anymore. It's a handout thing from people to go and help people, others who don't have water. And I think this is where the government fails us drastically. They must not only act on the human rights report, they must implement it. No, he's calling another imbizo in Joburg, taking all these officials to Joburg to go and have a meeting about it. I think that's the wrong thing. If it's a Durban issue, let us deal with it at a local level. Let's ensure that people will get the truth. Let's ensure that the necessary resources are going to be provided. Saying the right things is very well, it's good enough. But taking it far away to Johannesburg for a meeting is not good enough.
Right. And
I think that the minister should be doing it at a local level.
Sure. Yeah, and you've made that point quite clear. But let me ask this question nonetheless. Even though you believe an oversight committee should be created in place of the summit that's planned apparently for next year, is this a summit that you're willing to partake in for whatever possible outcomes that it may generate?
I think the Coalition of the Poor in Durban has always echoed. We've tried to meet with the mayor of Durban on several occasions around water quality, around access to water, and we're still willing to meet with the minister. We are ready to be there. If the minister invites us, we'll ensure a delegation of the community representative from uMlazi, from the hostels. You know, we have 10 hostels in Durban that don't have access to water. That water is a huge problem for them. We have the informal settlements of over 500 people living in informal settlements in Durban, and they only have one standpipe. So people are willing. We're willing to engage. We want our voices to be heard, but we also want that the minister must realize that by talking to us, we are looking at an implementation plan that we can hold them accountable.
Right. Desmond D'Sa is the chairperson of the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance. Desmond, for your time, thanks very much indeed.